But now you've had time to kind of digest the season. Are you even more excited about what was accomplished this year and what it might mean going forward?
Yeah, no, I think it's, there's a, I'm walking around town, everybody's kind of, man, we're sorry about your season. And I'm thinking, I'm not. I'm very proud of our season and what we did and what we accomplished and where we came and how we fought back and the fact that we won our 5th division in a row. I'm extremely proud about everything that happened. And I told the guys, it's you fight to get in the playoffs because you never know what can happen. And we got in. That's what in a couple of months we're going to go back to spring training and get ready to do it again. Try and win the division again. Try and get in the playoffs because you never know what can happen. Until you get in, nothing special can happen. And we know after the experiences we've had the last few years that anything can happen. But you got to get in to give yourself a chance.
Alex always mentions, because that thing's such a crapshoot, how much does it have to be about just getting there? And you kind of long season, twist and turn, but you just got to manage it there to get there.
I think that's where it's at. It's getting there. Because like I say, until you get there, you don't have a chance. So, and I tell them the first meeting in spring training, our goal number 1 is to win the division, not to win the World Series, win the division. Because until we get in the door, we don't have a chance to do the other. So, we'll go there and put our energies into everything we can do to try and win the division. If not that, get into a playoff scenario.
Were you pleased to see Trey Turner back in the division for 11 years?
Yeah, I know. How about that? No, you know what? It's good for him. He's a great player. He's fun to watch. He's one of those, he's like kind of probably more happy that Jacob deGrom's not here. But no, I mean he's a great player, and you watch him, he plays the game the right way. I got a lot of respect for that kid, and happy for him.
Swap DeGrom for Verlander. It's not exactly.
Yeah, I know. I guess it keeps getting easier. But I think we talked about that last year. It's like those teams are going to continue to push and get better, and they have resources, and it's just that's the way it is. A really good division, and it's we're in the same boat that we were in a year ago. It's just that we got to play the games. That's why we play the games, and we knew going in last year that these teams were going to get better. They're going to continue, and I feel like we are too. We're going to be another year older, another year more experienced with some really talented young players, and I think we're all really excited to get to work again.
How excited were you here about Nick Anderson, just get Anderson there and knowing that it's possibility what he can do?
Yeah, no, it's. I think anytime we sign those depth pieces and guys that are big leaguers and they've had success and because you need a bunch of them. As we talk, you need a lot of pitchers to get through that long season. And when you get an established quality guy like that, I know we talked about him a couple years ago at the trade deadline. His name came up a few times, and you get guys like that, and it's good. You need to.
Right, on the same topic, the 3 former Braves who are free agents who probably wouldn't be too costly to sign. I'm thinking about Andrelton Simmons, Craig Kimbrell, and Jason Hayward. Are you interested in any of those guys?
You know what? All that stuff's up to Alex. I know all 3 of those. I obviously have a history with them. Love all 3 of those guys for who they are. But you know what? I let Alex take care of all that kind of stuff. He does a great job. He works tirelessly at making this roster really good and providing the depth. And he'll call me with what he's doing, and I'll give an opinion. And I defer all that to him.
You guys, there's so many teams making some big moves, but do you have to keep if your fans get a little antsy, do you have to kind of remember you guys have signed so many of your guys long term that you don't have a lot of openings?
No, you're right. I mean, and I told the guys too a couple of years ago. It's like we worked really hard to get to where we come to spring training, and really there's not a lot of jobs, and that's a good thing because, like I say, but when I first got here, we were putting "We'll work for food" signs out on the interstate trying to get guys to come in here. So we've worked really hard to get this where it is and the expectation, and we've set the bar pretty high for ourselves. I've done a great job organizationally and locking up some really quality young talented players, and feel really good with where we're at.
the fifth spot in the rotation, you're going to have a couple guys competing there that have been further up in the rotation and have had success. How
Absolutely.
excited are you for that come spring training?
Yep, that's a great thing, that depth. You can never have too much pitching depth, and you know, when you look at the group of guys that we have that we're going to be, you know, competing for that job, and I know it's kind of got, you know, a guy like Ian and Mike, and you know, those guys have been, you know, in Rookie of the Year conversations. They've pitched big games in World Series, championship games, and so it's good. I mean, like I said, you never know what the injury bug's going to do. You never know. You just can't have too many of those guys, and they've all got experience too. That's the thing. They've all made starts, and have shown improvement.
And when they've got options, how much easier does that make that for you guys when you're doing things throughout the
You know,
season?
in the bullpen, those options in the bullpen are invaluable. The options in our starting rotation, you know, if we want to, you know, go with 6 for a while, or you know, depending on how the schedule goes, or if a guy needs a little blow, you know, and you can manage your roster to bring somebody in, those options are invaluable.
How about the rule changes? Have you thought about how you're going to address them?
Not a lot. I'm you know, kind of going to get educated in them a little more tomorrow at our managers meeting. So I'm kind of excited about that, just to kind of, because I haven't thought about it a lot. I mean, I've been kind of, you know, got done with the playoffs and things, and just kind of put baseball on the back burner a little bit, and haven't really dove into it a lot. I mean, it's.
I know you probably are still hoping to get Dansby back.
Yeah.
If he were not to come back, were you, because they've talked about Vaughn Grissom, that Wash has assured Alex he could get him ready to start. Have you seen enough of Grissom, his athleticism, and of what Wash has been able to do with guys?
I haven't seen that. So, you know what? We'll go to spring training. When we have Arcia, we got
Arcia.
Grissom. We'll let him play. We'll see where it goes. We got 30-some games to decide which way we want to go. You know, so, and we'll see. Honestly, I haven't seen, but, you know, I don't even remember Gris playing shortstop in spring training. Right. You know, when them guys are caddying for us and helping fill games out. So, you know, it's just going to be one of those things. For me, I might put my eyes on the whole situation before I make any determinations.
Is it nice to have a resource like Wash at this time?
No, it's good, and you know, they're spending time down there. It's not going to hurt, I'll tell you that. Yeah. You know, I think any time somebody can get that individualized instruction, it's really good for the individual player.
I know it's a business, but what is it like for you when there's a situation like Dansby and you've built a relationship with that guy and
Yeah.
you've seen him grow and you know what he brings?
Yeah, no, it's tough. I mean, went through it, you know, a year ago right now. I'm going through the same thing, and it's tough because you do get attached to those guys. My God, we spend a lot of time together. They're quality individuals. I love him to death. But that's part of the business. That's, you know, we all know that when we get in here, and it is part of it. And just kind of time will tell which way we go. But, you know, I'll always root for that kid.
In terms of the rule changes, you know, you basically, one's just going back to what you knew most of your life, or not, you know, with the shifting, it's maybe going back to a traditional time.
Right.
They play it that way, but from the pitch clock, when that came out last year, I looked at all the guys' times, and I mean, you're basically looking at Jesse Chavez and maybe one other guy on your roster who was under that time period. How? Yeah. Do you think that's going to be?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big adjustment. It's especially for some older veteran pitchers. I've seen it. I've been a part of it in the minor leagues. It works. There are times that I wonder. I mean, I know I thought about it last year. You know, especially late in the game when things are getting hairy, and you know, those games it's big in the ninth inning, the eighth inning, and things like that. And that's the one thing I heard from, because you know what, the guys we brought up from the minor leagues when they pitched, you could tell they were a product of that. And the one thing that, you know, they all said was that, you know, when you want to kind of reach back and regroup, you don't have that ability with that pitch clock. You know, and that might be something, I don't know, but that's going to be the big adjustment, I think, for guys. You know, and in the batter's box too, I saw, you know, that. I mean, so I think, you know, we'll be doing it in spring training. So hopefully by the time end of spring training, guys have kind of gotten it off their chest and they can, you know, express their pleasure, not whatever with it, and we'll see.
To follow up on that, might it even be a bigger adjustment in the postseason? Because you see so many of those big moments where guys are, they need to regroup, and it's a big situation.
It is, and it's a, and those are big things, man. These games mean a lot, and those situations are huge, and hopefully it doesn't, interfere with the game.
Following along with that, sorry. I'm in Toronto, so I cover the AL East a lot, and we get talking about what a meat grinder that division is and how there aren't any breaks. And we don't talk about the NL East, but it's the same thing with the schedule change now. But you don't have to play the Phillies and Mets 19 times. How different is that going to be, and how much better could that be?
I like it. It's not just the Phillies and Mets, the Nationals and the and the Marlins. It's you don't like when you play that many games against your division. I think it's going to be great to play everybody. I love that format, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm kind of glad that we're not playing so many games in the division.
Does it serve the better divisions better because they don't beat up on each other as much, and they can go out and maybe play some
I don't know.
lesser teams?
I mean, I've never thought about that.
What's it been like being in your guys' division? When you look at the last maybe 3-4 years, and it seems like a few of you guys have gotten better every single year, and it's kind of like an arms race every year.
No, it is. I mean, teams are getting better. They're using their resources to make their club better, and they're big games. They're it's fun games, really. When you think about it, you go in and with it to a big series with a really good team, you get jacked up and you like it. It's kind of why we do this. It's fun to do that. And
How happy were you to see Fred get?
it was awesome. Yeah, I just when I texted him the other day and he got back to me this morning, and I think he said things were slowing down, but I can't wait to see him. I just asked Curbs if he was running around here anywhere, because I'd love to give him a big hug. It's just so cool, and I'm so happy for him. And I said, so proud that he's a part of our organization.
He was like a kid yesterday. So happy.
Yeah, it's awesome. I guarantee you there's not a teammate or anybody that knows him that just isn't happy as they can be for him.
What was it like to see Troy win?
It was awesome. I told him, I said, I was more nervous watching his games than I was when I was managed against him in the World Series last year. Just pulling for him so hard, and it was really cool. I got that RSV stuff, so we couldn't go. I had to cancel 2 trips, But yeah, I went to bed early a couple times, just get up and check and see what the final score was. But it was cool. I'm very proud of him and what he did last year even, and I don't know there's many households that have back-to-back World Series champions living in them either.
Did you get a chance to talk to Dusty at all? You guys
No, I haven't seen him. Mm-mm.
Snit, how about some of your injured guys like Ozzie Albies?
Saw Ozzie the other day. Yeah, saw Ozzie the other day. Everything is he's doing great. Exactly what he needs to be doing. And Ozzie's going to be very consistent and diligent in his rehab. And he was fired up. I mean, he had a good look about him and very confident, and that everything went great. Matzik was doing good. He was feeling good. It's going to be obviously a while before he's ready, but all those guys, they're at the stadium every day working out. So I've seen him a few times.
Kirby Yates?
And I haven't seen Kirby. He's back home. But Kirby ended the year. We wanted to kind of get him activated, but it just wasn't possible. But he threw in Gwinnett at the alternate site, and so I think he had a good feeling that he could have a normal offseason. I know the poor guy just didn't want to rehab for the winter. So I think he kind of, it was good that he felt that he threw his sim game, felt good about it, where he could go into the offseason with some normalcy.
How much could a normal offseason help Acuna too, after all?
No, it'd be great. Yeah, I've seen the videos or whatever when he's out there running around, and I just think probably the time off, even the small spatterings of what he's doing now, I think just having a normal offseason for those guys, I think is huge for them. Just let their bodies regroup, do the normal, their weightlifting and conditioning and all that, and come to camp and should, I'd just be real surprised if, he just doesn't have a really big year.
Remember, we've asked you about after your 500th win, and you talked about the people here in this organization and just loving that. When in your life did you realize that you liked working with people so much, or that you wanted to be around it and you really cared about players?
Well, I think, it's the career here with the Braves when it always has been so much about people and the people in this organization. And, from Paul Snyder, and I remember, not very well, Bill Lucas, Bobby, all those guys, and they're all about makeup and Hank, and I said, being as a young minor league instructor, and you go in there 5 years in a row, and the room in West Palm wasn't a whole lot bigger in this area that we're sitting in right now, but it was always, it might be, Bo sitting over there where Jesse is one year, Jesse sitting here where Bo is the next year, but it was always the same guys, and everybody just did what they could do to help that organization, and it's always been about the people here and the players, more importantly. We talk about that. I know, I still talk to Randy Eagle, Rick Albert, and all those development guys, and how much fun we had developing players and being about the players. And I think if you ask guys that came through this organization, they would echo the same thing.